Would VPNs work in Russia as of November 2025? Well, the answer is kind of simple and kind of not. So first of all, a lot of people in the West, they think that VPNs in Russia are illegal. It's not illegal to use a VPN. So let's cover the legalities of it. First of all, there is I forget the exact term for it in English, but there's like an amplifier law that if you use a VPN to commit a crime, it can be an add-on crime. So if you're committing financial fraud or something else like that, but actually just using a VPN is not a crime whatsoever. Now, I believe it was last year, however, they did make it a small civil, I think it's a civil penalty, to advertise VPNs in Russia. So you won't see VPNs advertised anywhere here in Russia, at least not on official channels. You will see like little stickers in the metro or on walls in town. I've even seen some graffiti for VPNs, and people pass around how to use VPNs here. But because of the law being a little bit vague, some people, they don't want to publish in Telegram channels and so forth. So there's that. But there are some legal VPNs in Russia. So there's illegal VPNs. Well, none of them are legal. There's illegal to advertise them, and then there's legal VPNs. So there are some VPNs that are based in Russia. Well, why would you want to use a Russian VPN? That sounds nuts. First of all, think about this. I live in Russia, and I can tell you that far more websites block Russia than Russia blocks. Now, I'm not going to get into the who, why, whether it's good or bad or whatever. I'm just getting to the realities of things here. So in my daily life, I find more problems from Western companies that are simply blocking Russia, often for no reason other than it's Russia, it's bad, and just blocking Russia outright. So you can use a Russian-based VPN, Kaspersky, for example. Now, Kaspersky is not available in the US, but once you arrive in Russia, Kaspersky costs around $26 for the year right now for up to 5 devices, and it's very fast. And they have servers all over the world. Now, Kaspersky will not unblock things that are blocked by Russia. They still comply with the Roscosmodor, I'm not pronouncing that right, the Russian telecommunications agency that maintains the blocks and so forth. But that's going to get you out to most things. So I'm able to access most of the world using Kaspersky, and I rarely get off of Kaspersky. If you need to get something that Russia blocks, well, I'm not going to talk about that here, but you won't have a problem finding even free VPNs that do that. The free VPNs are always super fast, but they're still ways out. Another way that you can do it, it's not going to work on a phone though, is you can get a private VPS, virtual private server, and just RDP in and do a lot of your work off that, because a lot of services today detect and block VPNs anyways. For instance, Canva detects VPNs and blocks them. So one way to get past it is VPS, because a VPS, it's a real server somewhere else. You get the server in the US or Germany, wherever you want, and you just log in and it's a remote desktop and you do all your work there. The disadvantage of that though is that that's not going to work for Android or iOS. And of course, a lot of people are not desktop based anymore, so they're going to use that. So my recommendation is use Kaspersky. It's cheap, it's fast, and it just works. And that's going to get you to most of the places. And then if you have something that Russia does block you need to get at, well, there's ways for that too. I'm just going to discuss them here. But so what does Russia block? Well, there are some news sites it blocks. But then the West also blocks Russian news sites. So you can say what you want about it, but it's going on both sides. There's also TikTok's not blocked by Russia, but TikTok kind of blocked Russia. It's a weird situation. So TikTok said, we don't want to get into this, so they just separated it. So TikTok is actually quite complex to access, especially on the phone. It's not impossible, and the easiest way to access TikTok is I don't do this because I'm a creator and they can ban my account for that. But there is let's call it a special version of TikTok that people pass around. Maybe some security risks, but that's what most people in Russia do. Instagram, Kaspersky is not going to get you to Instagram or Facebook because Instagram and Facebook are Meta, and Meta did this themselves. Okay, so basically all Russia asked Meta to do was there were, for example, certain posts that gets posted on Facebook or Instagram, because it's one company, Meta, it's all the same thing. If the US government or the UK government asks them to take down certain posts, they do. And have their laws, and it just depends on what it is. And they don't ask them to take them down worldwide. They ask them to take them down within their region. So when the UK issues a takedown request to Facebook just has to block that post within the UK, and the same thing in the US. Russia asked the same thing of Meta. They basically said there's certain content that we want blocked within Russia, and Meta was like, no, you're Russia, we don't care. So Russia blocked Meta services. So this is one of those ones that Meta really did it to themselves. Now, outside of that, the Russian blocks don't really affect. I mean, yeah, if you're looking into the Ukraine war, a lot of Ukrainian websites are blocked. Certain news sites are blocked. But as far as other services, I don't know, Twitter doesn't work. Yeah, but I don't remember if Twitter blocked Russia or Russia blocked Twitter. But then again, it's the same thing. You can do the other solutions I mentioned. But other things like ChatGPT, Russia didn't block ChatGPT. ChatGPT blocked Russia. And that's what I run into consistently. There are so many. I mean, I have to go through and list them because I'm used to getting around them now. But just turn on Kaspersky. And it's just amazing to me that the Western press consistently talks about how bad Russia blocks Western services. But not only does the West block a lot of Russian, not only just Russian news, but a lot of Russian services too. There are a lot of people use Kaspersky when they go outside of Russia because they can't access Russian services. Like even their Russian banks, I don't know about Ozon and things, but there are so many Russian services that are so superior to the West. Once you visit Russia, you're going to find, you'll be like, Google, what are you doing? Yandex is so far ahead of Google in almost every aspect. We have Ozon and Wildberries, which are so much better than Amazon. I prefer Ozon, but I use Wildberries sometimes too. We also have Yandex Markets. The online services, short of a place like China, which is really restrictive compared to Russia. I mean, Russia has some restrictions. China's a whole other level when we talk about internet restrictions and just in general. But the services here, the online services, put Western services to shame in almost every case. And people who come in and out of Russia, or even Russians who live abroad or come back and forth, they have to use a VPN just to get the Russian services because Western ISPs are blocking these. And it just seems insane to me. But again, the one problem you have is the US itself blocked Kaspersky. So if you're in the US and you want to buy Kaspersky, I don't know how to do it because you can't do it with your credit card, US Google Play account. Maybe there is some way, maybe you can use a VPN to log into I don't know. But once you're in Russia, you can easily buy Kaspersky. It's not a problem. I don't know if there are other Russian-based VPNs that are legalized besides Kaspersky. There's nothing special about Kaspersky, like Kaspersky is the chosen one. I just know that Kaspersky works for me, and this is not a paid advertisement. This is not a sponsored ad whatsoever. It just works for me. It works on my phone. It works on my desktop. And the only thing I can say that I kind of don't like about it is that it's limited to 5 devices. And it's not 5 at once. So a lot of VPNs you'll get, and it's like, oh, you can use it with 5 concurrent. No, you have to actually register the devices. So, I mean, I have 2 phones, a tablet, a PC, another Windows laptop. I mean, there's 5 right there. And then I have, the rest of the family, and each of them has at least a phone and a computer. And so to go beyond that 5, they don't even have like, a 10 plan or whatever. So you have to buy multiple packages, which I wish it addressed, but it is rather cheap. This year they did raise the price. I think it was 2,300 rubles for the year, which is right now about maybe $25 or so. So if you have any questions about that, drop them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. And the only thing I can't really do is I can't name or advertise VPNs that work in Russia but that are not legal within Russia. By the law, I'm probably okay, but the law is a little bit vague there what they mean by advertising. So the general rule is here in Russia that you don't talk about those other ones. But Kaspersky works. Hope that helps.